Hey, friends. So, have you ever been in one of those seasons where you just wake up or you're laying in bed and you just feel broken? Like, you've been doing all the right things, or you feel like you have been. You've been showing up, you've been smiling, you're trying to be okay, and you're trying to live right, and you're trying to do everything you're supposed to, but deep down, you're breaking a little, or there's like pieces you feel like you're missing, or you've misplaced along the way somewhere and you don't know really how to explain it, but there's just something going on. And sometimes you can't explain it, but oftentimes you can explain it. There's just something that has you feeling broken or just heavy, or like there's pieces of you missing. Um, I've been there currently. I'm just kind of coming out of it myself. And it was a short period of time this time because I noticed it and I tried to, pull myself out of it. You can't always do that. Um, but luckily sometimes you can. And so today I want to talk about that and how it's okay to not be okay. And how sometimes the most beautiful parts of our story actually start in the middle of our mess. How a lot of times that brokenness can bring us um, to some sort of deliverance or a turning point for our life, or we realize things and we can fix them, or just strengthen parts of ourselves or relationships around us. Um, Brokenness doesn't mean that you're finished. And we need to be honest and open about, it's okay to not be okay. And if you aren't okay, if you're in a season of brokenness, it doesn't mean that you're doing things wrong or that God has turned his back on you or he doesn't see you or care about you. I think somewhere along the way, we started to believe that faith always means being strong and you always have to have it together and you never feel down or out of sorts or out of place. But that is not what God asks of us. That's not what God says. That's not what the Bible teaches. Um, even Jesus wept. It mentions it in the Bible that Jesus cried. It says Jesus wept. David said that his soul was crushed, his spirit was crushed. Elijah was depressed. And a lot of times people act like if you're depressed, if you're sad, that's not the ways of God or that's not how Christians should be. And it is, friend. Um, you know, being broken doesn't mean that you're less than. Psalms 34:18. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of the broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. God doesn't run from our brokenness, and He doesn't tell us to fix it and to get back with Him once that we are whole or complete. He just meets us right where we're at. He meets us in the middle of our brokenness, in the middle of our mess, and you don't have to hide it or try to cover it up or act like you're fine because God already knows anyways. So you might as well just lay it all out on the table. Pretending doesn't bringing healing. Honesty does. God already knows what is going on, um and sometimes just soaking it all in and saying it out loud and just between you and God, that's the first step in mending the broken pieces. We can learn a lot from brokenness. Brokenness teaches us a lot of things, and it has a way of showing us who we are and who God is. Because in brokenness, we often lean on God's understanding and God's strength because we feel like we don't have it. And the brokenness has a way of slowing us down and humbles us. It can strip away the things that we're leaning on that weren't strong enough really to hold us up anyways, but we somehow felt that they was. And, it's in those little cracks in the brokenness of what we have. That is the places where everything starts to fall into place and we can allow God to come in and seep his light into those cracks and broken pieces and start really shining through us and to start mending us and healing our hearts. In Corinthians 4:7, it says, "But we have this treasure in heaven vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God, not of us." So it's talking about, that his power is through us and it is shown through us that we are weak and we can't do anything without God, but we can lean on him when we're broken and he can fill our broken spaces and heal the brokenness of us. So I know a lot of times people have, you know, issues with, some people they want to lean on God when everything is just happy and dandy and good. But then when things start to fall apart, they feel like he's like left them, and they'll fall away from him. And he is always there. God never moves. It's us that moves away from him. So if you're feeling like that you're not close to God and he is just allowing the brokenness, just know that he didn't step away from you, that you stepped away from him. You allowed the things in your life, good or bad, it can go either way. I know for me, a lot of times when I am good, that is when I don't lean on his God as much. And when I'm really broken and just down, that is when I do tend to lean on God the most. So a lot of people, I mean, it can go either way, but if you're feeling broken and you feel like God has moved, God doesn't move. God only goes where he's allowed, and he won't overstep. And so if you feel like there's distance between you and God, you need to try to move closer to him, because he's always just there waiting on us to turn around and, to go back to him. And we need to find the beauty in the process of, the truth is, beauty isn't found in perfection, it's found in redemption. And true beauty is when you come out of the other side of the brokenness and you can see all of the ways that God has made it work out for you. Like, you'll look back and you'll be like, okay, now that makes sense. Now, sometimes it won't make sense. Like, some things will never make sense to you, but just know that they always work out for the greater good, for the way of God. Think about it, how flowers grow from dirt and gold is refined by fire. Healing is not always pretty. And a lot of times, we can do our best growing in those dark seasons, but healing is always sacred. And even if you're just, learning a renewed gratefulness for the sunshine when you get to come out of the darkness, the brokenness, um, then sometimes that's all you need. It's just a little reminder that God is always there. Romans 8:28, know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Even the heartbreak and even the brokenness and the hollowness and the heaviness, the loss, all of the pieces that don't make sense, there's still beauty in that brokenness, because that is often how God is going to rebuild you and redeem you and refine you, is through the brokenness. My biggest life lessons have always came from brokenness, not my, the highlights of my life have taught me nothing compared to what the brokenness and heavy spaces have taught me. So it's okay to be in the broken season. It's okay to have broken pieces. And you need to know that there's always grace in the broken season. That bug's just all up in my business. So if you're in the middle of that season right now, you're not healed yet, you're not whole yet, just give yourself grace, because healing is not linear. It is not a straight line. Some days you're going to feel strong and some days you're going to feel shattered. Some days you're going to feel both in one day, and it's all going to be okay. Some days will be better than others and some days will be worse. Some days you got to take it hour by hour because it feels like it's just never going to be ending, and that's okay. You just have to hold tight to knowing that God's got you and he hasn't ever failed you and he won't start now. Find peace and reassurance in knowing that he's not going to leave you and forsake you. That was never his plan. That was never his intent. And he always wants the best for his children. 2 Corinthians 12:9. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. God's power shows up the best when we are at our weakest. Like when you are on your knees and you just feel like you can't do it no more. That is when God will really show up. And that's when he's like, okay, you understand that you can't do it on your own, that you need me. So don't rush your healing and don't try to just get over it. Don't try to wallow in it and make it greater. Don't just lay in your self-pity, but don't feel ashamed or less than because of it either. Because God's not asking you to move on quickly and just get over it. He's asking you to move with him through it. and he will mend the pieces. He just asks you to hold on and to do your part and to just keep fighting. But it's okay to be broken, and it's okay to feel like you can't do it no more. Because a lot of times once we feel like we can't do it no more, that's when we give it to God, and he's finally allowed to do what God can do. So if today all you can do is just breathe and whisper, Lord, help me, because I can't do this alone. I can't do this anymore. That's enough. And you're not broken beyond repair. You are being rebuilt piece by piece, little by little, by the one who can make all things new. And even when you don't feel like that rebuilding is happening, it is. Sometimes it's little slow pieces. And sometimes we'll lose pieces as we go. But in the end, God rebuilds it. And when he rebuilds it, it'll be stronger than it was before. And being broken isn't the end of the story. It's not the end of anybody's story. And it might be where God starts to really write a beautiful part in. I know that for me, some of my most beautiful chapters have came from the broken pieces of my story. And some of those are things that I broke, and some of those are things that I had no control over, and they just happened. Um, but they all have good things that came from them and out of them. And God will always use everything for his glory. And just, we have to try to look for the good parts in all of it. Specific friend, and I know she wouldn't mind me saying her name, Mariah, that came to mind when I was making this one. She recently lost her fiance, and I'm always praying for her. I'm always praying for you, Mariah, because I cannot imagine the pain and brokenness that she is going through. And just know, whether you're going through a season like Mariah is, or it's something so small and inadequate compared to that, even though even the small things do feel big, and I know that all too true. um, just know that healing will come, and just you have to slowly rebuild and have faith that God will do that, because he will do that for you. And through the brokenness, he will build redemption, and he will build you a better story and a great story, and you will come out the other side of it. So just know that you're not alone, not for 1 second, because even the things that you feel like you can't tell people, that are just inside of you, and you're like, I feel crazy for this, I don't know how I'm going to fix this or deal with this, just know that God already knows. God's already there. He already knows how it's going to turn out. So just lean on God for everything, big and small. He wants it all. So thank you, friend, for being here, and we'll see you next time.